What if the secrets to progress wasn't grinding harder, but learning how to stop forcing? Everywhere we turn, the message is the same. Hustle hard, push through it, never stop. But deep down, most of us have felt that paradox, that the harder we force, the more resistance we create. Now imagining a different way, a way where effort flows more naturally, where mistakes don't throw you off course, where success feels less like a battle and more like a breathing. This is the promise of two very different paths: the Taoist philosophy, with its principle of Wu Wei, effortless action, and the contemporary psychology through Maxwell Maltz concept of Psycho-Cybernetics, which describes the mind as a goal-seeking machine. Two roads separated by centuries, but converging on the same truth. Clarity and trust matter more than strength. In this video, we're gonna uncover how your brain actually works like a self-correcting machine, what Wu Wei really teaches about letting go of force, how these two meet in a practical method of growth, and real-life examples of how to practice it daily. Maxwell Maltz was a plastic surgeon in the 1950s. He saw people coming to his office ashamed of their luck, convincing that their nose or scars was ruining their lives. After surgery, some would change overnight, confident, happy, and transformed, but others stay exactly the same. Even through the mirror showing a new face, their self-image hadn't moved an inch. Maltz realized something profound. We don't live by reality, we live by the picture of ourselves we carry inside. And this inner picture doesn't just influence how we feel, it controls what we notice, how we act, and what we achieve. To explain this, Maltz borrowed a common term from engineering. He said the brain works like a servo-mechanism, the same kind of system guiding missiles or thermostats.
It happens that Salvador Dali, a very dear friend of mine, this famous Spanish painter, gave me a painting of his concept of psycho-cybernetics. He had a world in it, and one half of the world was in shadow from frustration, where man's image has shrunken to the size of a small potato. The other half is in sunlight from confidence. And there man's image is 10 feet tall, and he's walking towards the sun. What is he trying to say? That's the whole essence of psycho-cybernetics. We're a composite, a combination of heartaches and happiness, of misfortunes and good luck. And we must realize that frustrations are there for us to rise above it and to turn it into a kinetic, productive force of confidence.
Think of a guided missile. It doesn't fly straight, it zigzags, constantly drifting off course, but each drift is corrected automatically. As long as the target is locked in, the missile arrives. Your mind works the same way. When you set a clear target, your subconscious begins to adjusting your actions and perceptions to hit it. If you stumble or fail, that's not the end, it's feedback telling you to adjust. And just like the missile, you don't need to know every step in advance, you only need to know the target. Here's the catch: the system is neutral. If your self-image is full of doubt, like I am awkward, I am a fail, your servo-mechanism, you work tirelessly to make those true. But if you feed it a vision of calmness, competence, and growth, that's the reality it will steer you toward.
All of us are frustrated sometimes during the day. I'm not talking about that. That's a human characteristic. And it's there for a definite reason, to stimulate one to rise above it. And that's what success is. I'm talking about chronic frustration, some hurt feelings, some agony of distress, some heartache, some grief, some guilt of the past that we carry on our mental backs day in and day out, many, many years thereafter. So that's the frustration I'm talking about. And if we know these red light signs, we can avoid them. They have fear involved in it. We come into this world in uncertainty. We live in it, and we pass on in uncertainty. But the business of living is to rise above uncertainty, to bend it to our will. Frustration has an element of retreat. Just because you've made a mistake, you retreat from life. You can't do that. In that instance, you sort of surrender your self-image, your dignity. You can't do that either, because the only treasure house you have within you is your self-respect. And if you're going to deny it expression, no one else will help you. So that when you practice this chronic frustration, dramatically speaking, you're like a traitor to yourself. You take a knife and symbolically kill yourself.
This was Maltz's breakthrough. You don't force success. You create it by updating your inner blueprint. The wisdom of Wu Wei. Now, let's step back in time, over 2,000 years early, in ancient China. The Taoist sages spoke of a mysterious principle called Wu Wei, often translated as non-doing, but it doesn't mean passivity, it doesn't mean laziness. Wu Wei means acting without forcing. It is the art of aligning with the flow of reality rather than fighting against it. Picture a skilled surfer. They don't control the wave, they ride it. Or a master calligrapher. The brush seems to glide across the paper effortlessly, though years of practice prepared the hand. Wu Wei is that state where effort feels natural, because it is in harmony with the moment. And here's the paradox. The harder you try to force control, the further you drift from it. But when you relax into the flow, you often achieve more with less strain. As the Taoist test, the Tao Te Ching puts it, less and less do you need to force things, until you finally arrive at non-doing. When nothing is forced, nothing is left undone. Sounds familiar? This is the same truth Maltz was pointing to, through the language of cybernetics. The bridge between the principles. So how do these two words meet? A 20th century surgeon and an ancient Taoist sage. Both describe a kind of trust in an inner intelligence. The missile works because you program it, then let it adjust itself. Wu Wei works because you set an intention, then let life's flow carry it forward. Both warn against over-control. The missile fails if you panic and wrestle the controls. Wu Wei disappears if you force yourself to try to be effortless. Both remind us, clarity without trust creates rigidity. Trust without clarity creates drift. But clarity plus trust creates alignment. Think of an athlete in the zone. They don't calculate every muscle movement. They hold the target in mind and allow the body to act. Think of a jazz musician improvising. They know the scale, they feel the rhythm, and then they let go. The music flows through them. This is Wu Wei. This is the servo-mechanism. Different language, same reality. How to practice it. How do you practice this? Here's a 4-step loop that blends all together. Step 1. Specify clarity. Define your aim clearly. Not vague goals like big successful. Instead, give a specification like I give my presentation calmly and confidently. I finish my writing with ease. Step 2. Imprint. Rehearsal. Spend a few minutes daily visualizing the scene, imagining it vividly, how you sound, how you move, how you feel. Your nervous system learns from imagining experience almost as powerfully as real ones. Step 3. Release it. Wu Wei. When it's time to act, stop forcing. Relax your shoulders, take a breath, enter the moment lightly. Trust your servo-mechanism to do its work. Step 4. Integrate. Feedback. Afterwards, reflect. Ask what worked, what felt strange. Adjust your mental picture for the next time. This loop makes growth a natural process. You're no longer forcing change. You're guiding it gently, like a surfer steering on the wave. In the end, Psycho-Cybernetics and Wu Wei are two doors into the same room. They teach us that success isn't about endless struggle. It is about knowing where you want to go, updating the picture you hold of yourself, and then trusting the deeper intelligence within you to carry you there. Wu Wei calls it aligning with the Tao. Maltz calls it trusting the servo-mechanism. And you might simply call it finding the flow. So next time you feel the urge to force, remember, set the target, breathe, and let go, and allow the current to take you where you were meant to go. If you like this video, subscribe for life-changing teachings like this. Leave in the comments. What do you want to change in your self-perceived persona? Be in peace and be beyond.